All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people, just like you and just like me. So the world of music today lost a legendary music promoter, a guy who worked for CBS and promoted for that label probably from the mid 1980s through the early 90s when that style of music was at its peak. And when I say that style, I mean bands like Till Tuesday, the Eurogliders, Dig Me Figness back in Boston. And I worked for a college radio station, and I did work because I actually got paid to do it because I became the station manager. I was the music director at one point, and I worked with my good friend Christy, who became the music director. And we dealt with this guy by the name of Jerry Blair from CBS Records. Jerry kind of talks a lot like Dean Castronovo, or he did, because unfortunately Jerry passed away. And I just learned that because Eddie Money's wife posted this on Facebook saying, "Rest in peace, Jerry Blair." And she put up some pictures, and I'm like, holy crap, that's Jerry Blair. And it's crazy because I worked with this guy mostly on the phone, but I'm sure I went to a number of gigs where he said, "Dave, you got to show up for this. I got tickets for you." And, I went to the gigs, and whether it was the Eurogliders or the Hooters, I might have seen the Hooters. I can't remember all the gigs I went to, but Jerry Blair was the guy promoting the music from college. And then when I left college radio and became a quote unquote professional DJ at a radio station on Cape Cod, I get this job as music director probably about maybe 4 or 5 months after I got there. And who's on the phone to tell me to add songs with Jerry Blair? "Dave, what are you doing here? It's crazy," and I have all these really cool, fond memories of how that all happened. And Eddie Money, who I guess was really close to Jerry Blair based on the post that I saw on Facebook, he was a guy who ended up calling me, and probably Jerry Blair says, "You need to call Dave and thank him for playing your song." And Eddie Money called me, and of course, the secretary, or the traffic director, as we used to call her, puts this call through, and I may have told this story on here before, but she's like, "Yeah, this guy Eddie Money's on the phone and he wants to talk with you." And I'm like, "Sure, okay, yeah, Eddie Money's on the phone." Same thing happened, by the way, with Dennis DeYoung. I've told that story. And I'm like, "Yeah, put him through." So I'm in the production studio, the call comes through, and the guy with a New York accent, he's like, "Yo, Dave, hey, it's the Money Man." He threw the whole thing, "It's the Money Man," right? I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, it's Eddie Money. So he's thanking me for playing The Love in Your Eyes, which was the second single from the album with Walk on Water. The title of the album escapes me right now. But we were playing 3 or 4 tracks off that album, so he was pretty happy with our radio station, and I'm sure Jerry put him up to calling us. But he talked for a while. He talked about his wife. He talked about, how he almost joined the police department, which is a legendary story, but he told it again. And he's like, "Richie Zito, he's such a great producer. I'm so blessed to have Richie. Richie's got some great ideas. And what do you think?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, Richie Zito." I'm just kind of playing along. I knew it was Richie Zito, producing the album, but I wasn't really that familiar with Richie. I just assumed, hey, it's Eddie Money, we're going to play it. And we did. And the song went to #1 on the album rock charts, and Eddie was pretty happy about that. But it was a weird thing getting phone calls from Jerry Blair when I was at the college station, and then making the transition to the rock station, the quote unquote professional radio station, where I was getting paid quite a bit more. Well, actually, full disclosure, I wasn't getting paid very much at all, but I loved radio so much that, I was a part-time DJ, a full-time music director. And, you know, it was like one salary, which was really, really low, but I loved it. And getting that call from Eddie Money and then getting these calls from Jerry Blair. So I got this call one day from Jerry Blair and he's like, Dave, I'm on the Cape, right? And I'm thinking, great, we'll get together, we'll hang out. Haven't done that in a while. And he's like, no, man, I got Martika. We're driving around in a limo. Come down so you can meet Martika. So I'm like, shouldn't you be down at the top 40 station with Martika? So it was a very awkward moment, but they're downstairs in a limo. So I go downstairs and sure enough, it's Jerry Blair and Martika, Toy Soldiers, in case you forgot what song was big by her, but she was kind of like a Madonna sort of knockoff. And I was working at the rock station. So I felt a little weird going to meet Martika, and she was a little weird and I was a little weird meeting her. And Jerry, you know, we talked for a little bit and then he's like, yeah, I got to go down the road to the other station. I'm like, of course you do. Because, you know, it's Martika and we don't play Martika here at the rock station. But I'll never forget that. Jerry Blair had the kind of enthusiasm and energy that was absolutely perfect for the job that he had. From the college level to the professional level, if you want to call college professional, it's just like the farm leagues to the major leagues. Jerry Blair was like one of the best. And I understand why Eddie Money and his family appreciated Jerry Blair. Jerry worked those phones. He convinced a lot of radio guys to add songs. And I'll never forget that voice on the other end. Dean Castronova from Journey, he kind of reminds me, at least the way he speaks, of Jerry Blair. But Jerry Blair was the ultimate slick promotions dude. And he completely owned that job. And I will definitely miss his spirit. Although I haven't seen him in years, I'll never forget, you know, the impact he had on me. And obviously, he must have done a lot for that record label, for CBS. And rest in peace, Jerry Blair. I'll never forget those days. And that's it. If you didn't get this video, I understand it. If you want to check out Jerry Blair, look at Eddie Money's Facebook page, because they posted about Jerry Blair this morning, and I couldn't believe it. There's the guy that I had hung out with for a number of years at various shows back in the 80s, and it's a little surreal. He's no longer here. All right, that's my video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and yes, Patreon for $1 a month. Maybe you've got a Jerry Blair story you'd like to share with me on Patreon. That would be awesome. In the meantime, I'll see you all very soon.